Hey everybody, welcome back to The Huddle, the Review.com's weekly high school football show. I'm Rob Todor, executive editor of the Alliance Review, joined as always by Mike Brown, our football gridiron guesswork champion for 2013. And I checked, he only cheated 1 week. Well, Mike, congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, congratulations are also in order to the Western Reserve Blue Devils, who had a great season. They finished 13-1, came up just a little bit short in the state semifinals, Mike, against Gloucester Trimble.
Yeah, a team they've never played before, but a team that has a pretty good playoff history. Now, a team that had never gotten the state title game, but had been in the playoffs a lot, Rob. And it was something where Western Reserve fell behind early, and then I think Western Reserve really won the second half, but they just couldn't come back from that early deficit and lost 14-10. But a great season for Western Reserve.
Yeah, they were. I know you like Andy Hake a lot, and
I do.
He's probably one of the area's best coaches.
Yeah, without question. And that guy's got a great future no matter where he wants to coach. You know, he likes it in Western Reserve, but I would think he would draw a lot of offers from bigger schools that would love to have a head football coach like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's turn our attention to the state championship games this week, and any games that kind of stand out for you. I know a lot of people are questioning if Akron St. Vincent St. Mary's the best team in the state, regardless of division.
Right, and I tend to agree with that. I mean, you look at their scores and the talent they have on that team. My goodness, wow! I mean, that would be fun if you could take St. V and have them play up and play in D1. That would be a lot of fun to watch a game like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Maria Stein Marion local.
Yeah, been there so many times.
In Division 7, and I've seen some for entertainment purposes only, as much as a 21-point favorite against Gloucester Trimble in that state championship.
And like we were saying before, Trimble's never been there before. Maria Stein Marion local seem like they're there every year, every other year. So, we'll see how that plays out, Rob.
Yes.
But boy, what a great program.
Yeah, a lot of great games, and they're going to be on television if the weather's kind of nasty, but close by in Stark County at Fawcett Stadium and Massillon Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. So if you have nothing better to do and want to see some good high school football, we encourage you to go over there and check out the state championship games. Let's turn our attention to the college game. Mount Union rolling along with an impressive second half against Wittenberg to make that score rather lopsided.
Right.
It was 21-21 at halftime, but Mount Union pulls away in the second half, and now they've got a team they know a little bit about in the Wesley Wolverines.
Yeah, and I think this will be Wesley's third trip here. I could be wrong on that, Rob. I think it's their third trip here, and Mount has fared well against them the last 2 times. This is a Wesley team that has a couple regular season losses this year, but they play a good schedule. And but I feel good about Mount. Like I said, we talked a few weeks ago when the brackets came out. You look at Mount's half the bracket. They got a great draw. I mean, the other half the bracket is really tough. Yeah. But Mount's got a great draw, and it's half the bracket. So I'll be stunned if they don't get to the Stag Bowl this year.
Yeah, and again, what they did in the second half against Wittenberg was great ball control. They ran their offense, and they shut down a Wittenberg offense that had been moving the ball and scoring points on them. So I think that's really the key. And not necessarily to get off to a good start, because they've proven they can fall behind and have the ability to rally.
Right, and it sounds like they made some great adjustments at halftime last week, as great staffs do, and Mount has a great staff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's turn our attention to the Big Ten championship game, and I know you're going out to Indianapolis for that. The Buckeyes, with that blowout 1-point victory over the Michigan Wolverines last week. I know I was on the edge of my seat throughout that game. It just never seemed like you felt comfortable even with a 14-point lead there early in the second half. But what do you see in this Michigan State team that gives you some concern as a Buckeye?
Well, you look at that defense. I mean, my goodness, they had 6 guys named to the All-Big Ten first team. Ohio State had 6 offensive guys named to the All-Big Ten first team. So this is that classic matchup of the irresistible force, against the movable object. So we'll see how that plays out. I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup. I think the fact it's going to help Ohio State, Rob, the fact that they played so poorly defensively last week, even though the back end of their defense isn't very good this year compared to what I think of Ohio State defense in the past. But I think the fact they're coming off a poor performance, I think that'll be a focal point practice this week, may actually help them against Michigan State. Now, again, Michigan State's a team that tends to run more than throw. I mean, they're an okay throwing team, but they're a good running team. Ohio State's actually been better against the run, the pass, obviously, this year. So might be a little bit better matchup this week for Ohio State than it was against Michigan last week, who could throw the ball.
Yeah, Ohio State really had their problems, I think, with spread teams, other than Indiana, who's just not very talented.
Right.
But most of the spread teams they faced gave them some issues.
They sure do.
Michigan State being a more traditional team, a run-first team,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of look back to that Wisconsin game where Ohio State got a big lead,
Yeah.
and Wisconsin was forced to throw and had some success, but just couldn't do it well enough to rally all the way.
Right. Like I said, I think it's the two best teams. The system worked as far as the Big Ten this year because the two best teams in the league are playing for the title Saturday night in Indy. So should be a lot of fun. And for Ohio State, if you get the win, you're probably going to be going to the national title game. I mean, that's probably as good as you could hope for. And then you take your shot. You get there and you take your shot.
Yep, absolutely. Well, a lot of great games this weekend. We hope you take a look. And if you're at Mount Union on Saturday, stop by and say hello. For Mike Brown, this is Rob Todor, and we'll see you at the stadium.